Investment advisory and financial planning services are offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. SEC registration does not constitute nor endorse of the firm, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill nor ability. Investing involves risk of loss. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Diamond Life Planning is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Simplicity Wealth. This information is provided as a general information and is not intended to be specific financial guidance. Before you make any decisions regarding your personal financial situation, you should consult a financial or tax professional to discuss your individual circumstances and objectives.
Welcome to the Rock My Finances show on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV, where we put the fun in finance. Join Powerhouse Jennifer Joseph, CDFA, CMC, and Private Wealth Advisor, as she collaborates with you to create clarity, control, and confidence with your money, your way. It's not about the zeros, so what is it all about? Let's find out. Now here's your host and weekly friend, Jennifer Joseph.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another amazing episode of Rock My Finances. This one's going to be really cool because what is my saying? It's not about the zeros. It's not. It's about how we F-word, how we feel about the zeros. And guess what? We are all about energy. We are energy. We attract energy. Energy attracts us. And money, in my world, is energy. So guess what we're going to talk about today? Whoop, whoop. We're bringing on Miss Beautiful Kelly S. Jones. She is amazing. She was on another episode that you're going to have to go check out as well. She did my Akashic Records, and it was very exciting. So Kelly, come on in, Kelly. She is a powerhouse in the Feng Shui world. She's amazing. She's a total expert. I can't wait for you to check out her website, see what's scrolling here. I think she's .net, not .com. So check out the .net. But check out Kelly. She's amazing. Hey, Kelly, thanks so much for coming on today's show.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. It's great to be back again.
I'm so glad. So Feng Shui is a 6,000-year-old Chinese science studies, and it's about how we live in our spaces. And it's proven scientifically, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And anything that's scientific, right, is tested and proven over time or adjusted. And so that's what this is, both a science as well as an art, right? So there is its own intuitive aspect to it, but there's also a foundation that's been established over many, millennia, and people, masters, what you would call a Feng Shui master, who has studied and practiced and found that by doing this thing is a result. And so it's been devised and quite powerful.
Oh, that's exciting. That's really exciting. So I've done a few things around Feng Shui, not too much. So I'm more of a novice for sure, 100%. So we're going to ask you a series of questions here, and then
fire away.
Okay, I know we're good at this, right? We did this last time. We're good at this, y'all. So, okay. So the first question I'm going to ask is, most people think it's just about rearranging furniture and not having, something blocking, or not having your front door go straight to your back door to have energy come straight through, or something like that, right? But what is it really doing on an energetically level in our life?
Well, I'll take you to classical Feng Shui, and it takes us beyond what's called form, for example. So actually, let me back up. There's two aspects to Feng Shui. One is form, and one is the unseen world. So what we see and what we don't see. So what you're asking about, right, is saying I have something blocking or not in the way of the energy flowing. That means what I can see, but the energy flow itself is unseen. Okay. So when I do classical Feng Shui, I'm looking at not only what I see in the environment, but I'm looking at when a building or a structure is constructed and what its orientation is. Those two pieces of information actually create what is like an astrology chart for a space, whether it's an office building or a home. Either one has this energetic pattern, and it allows us to see the subtleties, what's going on energetically underneath the physical form that we actually see. Does that make sense?
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if your door, for example, is north and, it's facing south. So in other words, your front door is in the north part of the house, the back is south, then that's going to have a certain energy flow versus east to west, northeast to southwest, etc.
Yes. And I know that a lot of things have come out and they kind of make it more commercial and marketable because we can't change our front door. And
Right.
so an apartment living is very different, right? So
Mhm.
they have come out with a lot of different things to help you do that. But I wonder if that's even real.
Well, some of it is, right? So
Okay,
we
good.
have to start with where we're at. And so it's always about where are you at and what do you understand and what can you hold space for? So I'm always asking clients 4 questions, which is can you, can't you, will you, won't you? So you might be able to do something, but you're not willing to do it, right? So it helps to guide the session. And when we can, I call it piercing the veil. So there's many layers to feng shui, right? So form is one, what I physically see. There's also your birthday. There's also then the energetic pattern of the house. And when I can, and there's more, but when I can find one remedy that pierces as many layers of that as possible to bring harmony, balance, to enhance prosperity and abundance, then that becomes an even stronger remedy. Now, you're not going to necessarily find that out there, in your day-to-day walk. It takes somebody that's a professional that understands this, that's been doing this for years and knows what they're looking at.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And do you have to be in their house to do all that?
Not anymore. I used
Okay.
to, and I work across the globe now, so I can use Zoom. So Zoom or, any camera that somebody can virtually
Oh,
walk me
good.
through their space. So as long as I have an accurate floor plan, I have a compass measurement, which now today I can get off of Google. And
That's
that's
great.
right. I mean, that just allows me to see the space. And I get accused of as if I'm actually in the space because they're like,
How'd
I've
you
been
know
living
that?
here for 5 years and, I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, it's right there or whatever. It's like, no, you can move that another inch this way and it makes all the difference.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna um, admit here. I did the uh, Marie Diamond or something Diamond,
Mhm.
and it's an app.
The
Okay, so
secret,
I
right?
pardon.
Is she part of The Secret? She does feng shui and
I
The
think
Secret?
she was. I think she was part of it. My
Yeah,
girlfriend sent it to me, and I got it from 3 different people within a week. And usually when that happens, that's my angels whispering to me to check
yeah,
it out.
yeah.
So I did, and I love that your 4 questions, um, because it said to put like a peachy color in my living room, like a peachy corally color
Mhm,
instead of the pink that I had. Now I had pink in there, so I moved the pink to the bedroom. Now I've been living with that for a couple months now, several
mhm,
months, like 2 or 3 months, and
mhm,
I don't like it.
mhm.
Like, so I'm not willing to keep that color in that living room, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it depends, right? It's like, what is your real primary objective? So not everybody is really desirous to go to the deepest potential levels, right, that there are. So I'll do, for example, I can do a feng shui walkthrough that is just what's seen. And from that, I can see a lot also and make recommendations. I'll give you an example. I was working with a client the other day, and she's a single mother with 3 sons. And on the outside of her bedroom door was a basket, little kids basket, right, for basketball hanging
Oh,
there. And it said the final four. And I said, look at that. And she's like, what? And I was like, right there. Said the final four. So in other words, right? So it's interpreting also what is going on. So here she is, right? Wanting to embrace a new relationship, but she's got the husband has now been gone. She's there with her 3 boys, and they're the final four.
so we're not inviting the other person in.
Right. And it's on the door to her master bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's
So it's like
cool.
closed door, right? It's like, this is it. This is the final four. And just shifting, right? It's like putting on a new pair of glasses. It's having a new language of looking at our space to recognize it's not just something that we interact with in a way that it's like, we sleep here, we eat here,
Right.
we entertain here. It's influencing us as well. And so we want to have what's the insight that it can give me so that I can get my space working for me and not me working for my space. And too much of our Western philosophy is that way, right? We get the big house and we're working all the time just to keep it going. But Feng
Exactly.
Shui turns it around. it makes that space work for us instead.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I was doing a client one time, and she wanted to do a big water fountain outside a window, one of her children's bedroom windows. And it was the front of the house. It was perfect. It was South Florida. And I was like, nope, the energy said, don't do that. And I heard spirit tell me directly, it was like, tell her why. And I was like, oh, okay. So I said, listen, if you forget and you put a fountain there, and if legal issues start to happen, turn it off immediately. So this was when I was seeing clients. I come back around the next year and there's a water fountain and it's not running. I'm like, what happened? So I go in, I'm like, all right, you have to tell me what happened. She goes, you're not going to believe this. And I was like, what? She goes, we put the fountain, we forgot you told us not to put the fountain. We put the fountain in. Within 3 weeks, we were being sued. So they were landlords. I didn't even know that they were landlords. Like, right, they owned properties and rented them out. And then she goes, and we remembered when the lawsuit showed up that you told us if this happened, turn it off. I was like, this is amazing. So I was like, okay. And she goes, and we did, and they went away. I was like, what? So it just proves itself to me, right? So there's energetic patterns for health, for lawsuits, for wealth, for relationships, for romance.
For health, I would imagine.
It's all there. Health. Yeah, health and illness, right? So if we're experiencing illness, there could be something in our space. Actually, that's another story. I was working with a client, and she and her husband, same bedroom, but she's the one that's getting sick. Well, there was a couple issues that related directly to her, right? So there's an energy pattern that represents the woman, the head of the household, the female head of the household. So that's what was being affected. And there was a big pool outside. And that actually was one of the lessons in asking, can you, can't you, will you, won't you? Right. So the ideal would have been to move the pool. Well, like you said, with the front door, we can't move the front door.
Right.
We can't move a pool. We're not going to fill up a pool. Right.
Nope.
So we knew that was a can't, right? Can't and won't. Well, can and won't.
Right.
And we ended up putting huge flower pots on all four corners of the pool because the pool was the culprit, to the master bedroom on the second floor. And it acted as if it was absorbing all that water to protect her, and her health turned around.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, so let's talk about money.
Yeah.
Have you seen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Rock My Finances.
It just popped into my head to give you an example of money. Yeah.
That was awesome. I love that. So
Actually,
what is some other ways that you've seen people blocking? Like, obviously, I'd love for you to walk around my house right now to find out if there's something that's blocking that's easily done.
well, I'll give you the example. I used to work with Whole Foods Market before they were owned, right, by Amazon. And I would design spaces from the ground floor up, as well as help them with spaces that already existed. And there was one time I walked in and I saw a door alignment, right? An interior door aligned with an exterior door. And I was like, you're losing money. And they actually acknowledged that, yes, in fact, they were. And so we changed a pattern the best way we could to start shifting the energy, and it worked.
Does it have to be like directly lined up, or can it be off 2 or 3 or 4 feet, or is it like lined up?
Ideally, there's no alignment, not even, right?
Mhm.
Because imagine, right? So then you're splitting your energy.
Yep.
So if you're splitting your energy, then part of you is being held back and part of you is moving forward. So it's very disorienting to the body.
Mhm.
And that's any doors in any room, right? So our home is just as powerful in supporting us financially as our place of work, whether that's a home office or that's an actual facility, business place, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So I think I'm good on that one. Something else around our energy and maybe like a big financial decision that somebody has to make.
And how that relates to Feng Shui?
Yeah. Like, is everything like permanent, or can it be just like for a season to make this big decision, say?
Okay, so here's how I can imagine to answer that question. So there's multiple layers to the astrology of the of the space. So there's a foundational energy, and then on top of that is what's called annual energy. So on an annual basis, I do updates for my clients, right? So the foundation energy is strong and stays permanent.
Okay.
But on an annual basis, there's a new energy that comes in. It's like guests, if you will. And those guests, right, they represent these different energy systems, right? One could be mad, angry, frustrated, right? That's the lawsuit one, right? And so you're not wanting to do certain things that create an instigator, a trigger for that. Okay. So, for example, what do we have? 1, 2, 3. The West this year. We're in 2026. The West has that energy. So that's an area where you're not wanting to have, let's say, water fountains flowing because it could trigger upheaval. So that would be a place I would say, for example, with a client to go, that may not be your best place to have a conversation, a heated conversation, or to make important decisions, right?
Oh, interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
And we could, if we were in tuned enough, because I'm pretty in tuned, I'm pretty intuitive,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know where it's coming from. I just know that that's how I feel. And so like I'm in my loft right now in my home office. I
Mm-hmm.
am facing west.
Okay.
And I'm trying to feel like how I feel around the house and
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. Now, that book that I read told me this is perfect. This is where I should be. My money tree should be over there, and all of that. But now I need to, like you said, annually, it could be different. It could be an annual situation.
Right. And what you're being offered is what can best be served up without being customized.
Yeah, just which I don't like any of my clients to do because the general information out there on finances is talking to the general public. It's not talking to you specifically. So it really doesn't make any difference.
And, it's like, I always say, it's like when you start a supplement, it's like pay attention. But
yes.
we don't do that in our space. We change something, we move something, but we don't connect it to it's affecting my life in somehow. And how is that?
Okay, that's the biggest thing that you've said. We don't even connect it. We might bring in a new bedspread, or when people get out of a relationship, they might want to redo their room or their curtains or something. But to just bring in like a new throw or
a new mattress.
Oh yeah, new mattress, right?
For relationships, you want ideally the whole new mattress, or you put a foam on top.
Oh, good. So my girlfriend just bought a whole new mattress.
Yeah.
So that's good. Okay, good. What about getting out of a certain pattern around their abundance or wealth or money, and they want to break a pattern somehow?
That to me, it depends, right? So that would be like having an actual consultation.
Yeah, to see what's going on with them.
Correct. Because there can be a pattern that started and it's in the house and it's how they're using the house. So that's not just about decorating, right? So when I work with interior decorators or people designing their houses or, coming up with a color scheme or where things are going to be, it's not just placement, it's got purpose. Why am I using green? Why am I using the wood element? What is it actually doing? How is it going to affect my life? How is it going to affect the space versus I just like it? Right? It pulls us out of the I just like it mode and it brings it into a place that, and I'll say this before I even finish that. What I have found Feng Shui to do is it brings so much harmony to the place. It always feels good. It's like,
I like that.
Yes, there's just this yes in your being that it feels like, okay, this is the choice I would naturally have made anyway.
Unlike the coral in my freaking living room that I'm taking out as soon as I get off this podcast.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it resonates with you.
No, I don't like it. I don't know
and
why.
And it's interesting because, right, and that's why it's a collaborative effort when I work with my clients, right? And I'm sure just like you, right, with the financial piece.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, I need your input because coral to me has a fire energy to it, a little bit of earth as well, right? So we have the 5 elements. So we can be on a spectrum. So what of the spectrum appeals to you? I'm not just telling you have to do this one thing, right? If I'm using watercolors, for example, it's blues, it's grays, it's blacks. Well, there's a lot of shade in there. It's not just one. And then there's a lot of ways to actually bring that element in. It could be actually a picture of water. It could be literal water. It could be a tank, a fish tank maybe, right? So everybody's going to have their own way of implementing the 5 elements so that it helps to benefit their lives.
I love that. And I do have a lot of the elements, which I'm good after I read that book. But you're right to know why. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left. So I'm going to ask you another question.
Sure.
For someone who's listening that might feel stuck or overwhelmed in their life right now, is there like a simple shift that they can make in their space that might create a change?
Well, I mean, you can do any shift. You could rearrange your living room. You could rearrange your bedroom. You could, right? Because a new perspective, that gives a new perspective just from a 101 perspective, right? Just baseline 101. And when we change our perspective, things in us can shift to open up potentials, options, ideas, choices. What else could I do? What couldn't I see before? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Just anything is going to shift it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I worked with a writer once, and it was like, we flipped her entire house. Her bed was on the wrong wall. Her couch was on the wrong wall. It was like, okay, there you go. That was it.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. So I'm hosting Easter on Sunday. And so I'm going through my whole house anyways. So I think I'm going to shift a bunch of stuff and pay attention to how I feel. Yep. Because I do feel very calm in my living room, even with the coral there. I mean, it's my cozy, relaxing spot, which it wasn't before. So I like that.
The idea is if things last, right?
It's not lasting. Yeah.
Our intention holds for only so long. So part of what you're doing is the intention. By intention, I'm doing this. So the intention only holds the power for so long, whereas the energy of Earth, the Earth energy, which Feng Shui addresses, holds that power far longer.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So do you sage as well?
I do.
Yes. And do you sage often?
Yes.
Okay. So I had a teacher that saged after every client, even on Zoom, phone call, or everything. And I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't. But I mean, you can do something little, it doesn't have to be a full on sage.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. I work with the angels to clear my energy.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Right.
You're way more evolved. I can actually do my little bubble and do a couple deep breaths and stuff, which is awesome too. But I do need to sage a little bit more, I think. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about with Feng Shui. I want everyone to go check out Kelly's website. See, it's scrolling here. It's also listed below in the description. Check her out and check out her Akashic records. She's amazing. My reading was spot on. Like it was absolutely awesome. So check out Kelly. Kelly, thank you again for coming back to Rock My Finances.
Indeed. Thank you, Jennifer. Lovely
I appreciate it. I want us all to be able to walk away from our Feng Shui in our house and to be able to say, I rock my finances.
We appreciate you joining us today, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rock My Finances YouTube channel for more engagement and bonus content. Tell me, what is your money story? Let's find out with Jennifer right here on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV. It's not about the zero, it's about the F word, feelings. Feelings Jennifer can't wait to explore with you next week. Until then, let's all say, I rock my finances.